one of the minor changes is that if you go to the field of play and you have to check the pitch, if the goals are correctly, if uh, uh, the nets are attached, there's a new thing mentioned in the laws of the game that the goalposts and the crossbar could have a combination of different shapes. So they could be square, rectangular, round, or elliptical, and it could be a combination of those. So the crossbar could be a different shape than the goalposts. So if you have to check the field of play, this is something that is allowed from the upcoming season. It's a minor change, but it's good to know when you do pitch inspection before the game. And probably at the highest levels, you'll see goals that have all the same shapes, but especially if you do like amateur games, like I do as well, they might turn up with something different. So it's good to know for you. What the second change says is about the when a ball comes defective. If the ball comes defective, the restart is a drop ball. They just changed it because the restart of play is where the last touch was, or from one of the teams, or if it touched the match official, it's on where the match official was touched. You've maybe seen this in the recent Champions League games with Del Cerro Grande. He gave a drop ball as well for after the ball touched him. His restart position of the restart was where the ball was last played. According to the laws of the game, it's where the ball was last touched by the player or the referee, so he was the last person to touch it. Something to keep in mind as well. There has been a few changes in the equipment of players, and I'd like to go through this very quickly because especially at amateur levels, you won't check for the performance and tracking systems. You either not see them, or you probably don't know about standards. Normally, I don't see this stuff in my own game. So, but there has been some different technology allowed in the laws of the game. You can read that back in Law 5 if you want to see it more in detail. So that were the changes in the first few laws. Then we go to Law 10, determining the outcome of the match. There's a few things changed there, and the most important change that is, for example, when you have a cup game in the Netherlands, the season starts usually with cup playoffs. If these are knockout games, you get kicks from the penalty mark if it's a draw. And it's something crucial to keep in mind, because normally if you issue cards during the game, they will be carried forward towards the penalty kicks. One of the law changes says that they are not taken into the penalty stage, so everyone starts with a blank sheet. Only players who receive the red card, they're sent off and they can't participate, but people who are still on the field of play after 90 minutes or after 120 minutes, depending if there's extra time, they start with a blank sheet again. So warnings and cautions issued during the match are not carried forward into the kicks from the penalty mark. So that means that someone can receive a yellow card during the game. They start with a blank sheet in a penalty series. They get a warning first, and for the second time they get then their second yellow card, but it's not a send-off because they start with a blank sheet again from then on. So they can technically receive 3 yellow cards, and then they got the red card. There's also something changed when both the goalkeeper and the attacker offend at the same time. The law changes now that a kicker should be penalized, because most of the times if it happens exactly at the same time, although that's very rare situation, because normally one or the other is definitely going first. If a goalkeeper is coming off his line, he's 1 or 2 meters from his goal line, then that's definitely the first offense if the kicker is fainting. But if they do it exactly at the same time, normally illegal fainting is the cause that the goalkeeper is encroaching, so he's moving forward. So then that's why they say the kicker should be penalized. What's also important that you see here as well is that if the goalkeeper commits an offense, in previous occasions they would receive a yellow card straight away. What is new in the laws of the game, and it's also during regular penalty kicks, the goalkeeper gets a warning first. So if the goalkeeper comes off his line at a penalty kick and he saves the ball, there's a retake, and it also means you warn the goalkeeper. If he does it a second time or a third time, or every other time he does it in regular time, he receives a yellow card. So that's good to keep in mind. So a warning first, then a yellow card. You might think, where are the clips that you promised? So here we go to offside, and one of the changes in deliberate handball. There was not much clarity on handballs if it's a deliberate play, because sometimes a handball is just a hand sticking out, not moving. Would you consider it deliberate play? The laws of the game are clear now. An illegal handball means that it's considered as a deliberate play, and so it's not considered to have gained an advantage, which means that a player who was in offside position of a moment of the pass, and then there's a deliberate handball by a defender, the player receives the ball, is not in offside position, because when the defender touches the ball with his hand, it implies a new situation, and when you get a ball from the defender, you're not in offside position. And there are some clips to clarify it. I'll play that one again. What you see is there's an attacker on the midfield. He kicks the ball forward. And the attacker who was in offside position originally is considered onside because the defender here touched the ball with his hand. Check. No questions so far. Then we'll go to law 12. Everyone has seen is that the handball is described differently, so the wording has been clarified. It was never clear where do you say it's a handball, where do you say it's not a handball. What they put a diagram in the laws of the game now, and the biggest change there, the armpit is now what says above the armpit, no handball, beneath the armpit, it's a handball. And there's still borderline situation where you think it's slightly under the armpit, but most of the balls above the armpit, then would say no handball. So I would say the biggest part of the ball is on the shoulder. Then you would say no handball, and then you continue play. That's something you should keep in mind during the when you judge situations like handballs. Is it something you should whistle for or not? That's a change in like the diagram and how it's described. There's also been a law change 2 years, like from last season on. So it was a law already that if players like score a goal after an attacker touches the ball with his hand, even when it's not deliberate, you should disallow the goal. But some things were not clear about that, because some said, yeah, it's not, they didn't gain position immediately, or the person who touched the ball with the hand didn't score, but a teammate did score. To clarify this, there has been a few changes. So it says that if the ball touches an attacking playing hand or arm and then goes to another attacker and a goal scoring opportunity occurs immediately, then it's a handball offense. But if not an offense, it's after the accidental handball, the ball travels some distance and there are several passes, or there's a notable time interval between the handball and the goal scoring opportunity. And we can talk about this long, but I think it's better to see the clips, and then you can clearly see the situations when you should punish for a handball offense and when you should not. And so one thing to keep in mind when you referee on the field of play, it should happen immediately and not after a long time. And the first examples we'll see when it gives the player a goal or a goal scoring opportunity. In all the clips you see now on, a direct free kick should be awarded. I'm sorry for the Welsh people here, but it's a Welshman scoring. It's a wonderful goal, but as you noticed in the replays, the ball touched the arm of the attacker and he immediately takes a shot on goal and scores. So this is a goal you should not allow. Another one. What you see in this clip as well is the laws of gameplay. There should be a goal or a goal scoring opportunity. In this case, a goal scoring opportunity is created immediately after the ball was touched with the hand. So when there's a goal scoring opportunity, you don't have to wait if the ball goes in or not. It's good when you whistle immediately. And what you see here as well is that the assistant referee is very accurate. He flags with his whistle. He flags with his flag, of course, to signal there's a handball and there's also that goal scoring opportunity. If you're quick and whistle, you see that the referee also decided, you see him on the left of the screen, the referee also decided this is a foul, this is a direct free kick. You can prevent a lot. If you wait until the ball goes into the goal, then you have to disallow a goal, and that makes it more difficult as a referee to manage. So be alert when you see things. Try to, if it's in the penalty area and there's a goal scoring opportunity, be quick, be decisive, because you're gonna disallow it anyways. This gives the opportunity for players not to score, and you have to disallow a goal. Some players get angry if you do that, so it solves lots of problems, and prevention could work really well here. It's a third clip, and also you see is that the arm is near the body of the attacker, so he normally he probably couldn't have seen it. He couldn't expect the ball being missed by the goalkeeper and the defender. He got his on his hand, and that's something where the laws of the game say you should disallow the goal, even if accidental, because the ball touched the hand, and immediately after it, the goal was scored. What you see here as well, the ball comes from the white player, number 11. The white player plays the ball. The arm is wide of the attacker, but you could see this maybe as an accidental handball because he doesn't see the ball coming. He's in his movement. Ball comes from a defender from a short distance, but he creates a goal scoring opportunity after this. So what you should do is whistle direct free kick for the defending team because the ball touched the hand and then a goal scoring opportunity was created. These were examples where the ball touched the hand of an attacker and then he got the advantage into a goal scoring opportunity. There are also situations when the ball arrives at a teammate immediately. If it happens immediately, you still have to award a direct free kick. So the next few examples would say restart with a direct free kick. That's where the ball touched the hand, number 14. It's just a mistimed header, but it's an accidental handball, but it arrives at a teammate and the teammate scores immediately. Like he did one pass for himself to control the ball and then shot at goal. It's not that he dribbled all over the field of play. He was in the penalty area, just 2 touches and then shot on goal. So also should disallow this goal. This is one of the examples you could have read on my blog 1 year ago when the new rule was applied already. The laws of the game are now clarified, so this also means that even a teammate gets the ball, you should still disallow it. The number 8 touches the ball with his hand. There. Then it comes to a teammate who scores. But there are also situations when it doesn't happen immediately. Like there might be accidental handballs before a goal or a goal scoring opportunity, but it takes a while until the goal scoring opportunity is created or before the goal is scored. In these cases, there's no offense. And I got a few examples of that as well. Ball touching the hand, arm near the body. Try to pause it. What you see is balls coming from nearby, ball arm near his hand, almost on his shoulder. He's not making himself bigger according to the IFAB. This is their presentation. And then he dribbles, he passes the ball back, and it takes like, it's 14 seconds in the clip now, so it takes about 5 seconds before the goal is scored. But the IFAB says this is something that the ball has a few passes, it travels over distance, so goal should be awarded in a situation like this. The number 7 touches the ball with his hand. I'll try to pause it. I'll pause it now. What you see now, the ball bounces up from the ground on the hand of number 7. You can't see the number now, but he turns around so you can see it clearly then. And he gets possession of the ball, but it's just an accidental bounce from the ball up to the ground, not a deliberate handball. So normally we let play continue, and then you see that he dribbles, he passes to a few players, and then the goal is scored, so you should award. The ball bounces on the ground right in front of the player. It doesn't zoom in on it, but IFAB says this is an accidental handball, and what you see after that is that the goal scoring opportunity is created. It's not a goal yet. They go one-on-one with the last defender, so it's a goal scoring opportunity. But because it was an accidental handball, but the ball has to travel from like the own penalty area to the halfway line, and even if it becomes a goal, they have to travel like the whole field of play. So the ball has to travel a lot of distance. So in situations like this, let play continue. This sheet summarizes what we've just discussed, so I think you got it. Deliberate handballs are always something you should award a free kick to, but for attacking handballs, if a player scores in the opponent's goal, or even if accidental, then you should, if it happens immediately, and that's the key word, then you should disallow it, whether it's by the attacker himself or by one of his teammates. But immediately, that's the crucial word in decisions like accidental handball for the attacking team. I'll just have a quick look at the chat if there's anyone asking questions. So no questions so far, so I'll continue with the next situation. It's a new thing in the laws of the game, an illegal second touch by the goalkeeper. It's always been a foul when someone takes a free kick and touches it the second time. But the laws of the game are slightly changed, because if a goalkeeper touches the ball the second time, he could stop a promising attack, or he could deny a goal or an obvious goal scoring opportunity. And the laws of the game has been changed, and it says if that happens, the goalkeeper should be shown either a yellow card, so he should be cautioned, or a red card, so he should be sent off. They said that's an appropriate action if the goalkeeper touches the ball illegally for a second time. So you could think about taking a free kick in his own penalty area, and he doesn't kick it too far, and then he sees an attacker coming, and then he kicks it the second time, so he prevents the attacking player from scoring a goal. And that's what you'll see in the example. This could be, because there's a defender, could be stopping a promising attack, but this is what the foul looks like. See the goalkeeper, he slips, and like the attacker and both the defender are running towards the penalty area. And you see it again. You see this is the first touch, and that's the second touch, which is illegal because he was not allowed to touch the ball twice. And it's up to you as a referee to consider this. Is he stopping a promising attack, or is he just illegally touching the ball twice, or is he preventing the opponent from scoring a goal? Because there's a defender, you can argue there's not denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity, because the defender could have played the ball first because the defender was there first. But it's something you should consider in your games. It might happen when something like this happens, when a goalkeeper slips and then he touches it twice. You can now like also punish the goalkeeper with one of the cards. That was something that was not possible, or at least not written in the laws of the game in previous editions. And we go to a delayed caution for stopping a promising attack, or when people take a quick free kick. The laws of the game changed in 2019. 2020 was when you whistle for a player denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity, and they take the free kick quickly, and they got the goal scoring opportunity back. The laws of the game stated from 2009 to 2020, so from last season, that the red card should not stand, and after the play continues, then the goal is scored, or the ball is missed maybe. Then the referee says, all right, you got the goal scoring opportunity back, so you got from a red card, you go to a yellow card. So you downgrade the punishment. Last season in the laws of the game, there was never said something about stopping a promising attack, where you normally get a yellow card. And was it downgraded to no card? That was not mentioned in the laws of the game, but that was in the spirit of the game, because once you downgrade red to yellow, it seems fair that you downgrade the yellow to no card. And it has been added to the laws of the game now, because it was not mentioned or not clear. And this means that they made the laws more consistent. So if someone stops a promising attack, the attacking team takes the ball quickly, they got the promising attack back because they can still continue play, then the referee should not issue a yellow card. And that's situations you'll see in the upcoming videos. So no card is issued. If I were the referee in this game, it was you see that there's immediately a goal scoring opportunity. That's fine by me. If I were the referee, I would go to the player who makes the offense. I think he even tripped him twice. I would go to him and say, I'll warn him, so they got the opportunity back, so I don't give you a card, but this is your final warning. You have to be, in terms of management, always address it to a player when when they are on the edge of receiving a yellow card if you're not showing it. So make sure you manage it well and talk to the player like you're close to your first yellow card there. Similar situation, that this one's on the left wing of the field of play, so it's still far from the goal. But the referee says that he has given a free kick. You can see that from here. But the attacker puts the hand on the ball. That's what he's doing here, and he sees that another player here, just in front of the referee, is coming in. So they have 3 attackers and 2 defenders. As a referee, you have to be alert on situations like this, and you can give them let play continue. So the player here, the white player who's still on the ground, stop the promising attack. Because they can take the free kick quickly, they got the promising attack back, so you don't issue a yellow card. Something you should keep in mind is the defender is injured or seems injured. Is it very serious? Then it would be smart to stop play, because if he's like, maybe the foot of the attacker touched the head of the defender. When there's a head injury, you whistle. You don't let them take the free kick quickly, and then they can like give the medical attention. But you also then have to give the yellow card because they stopped the promising attack and you had to stop play for it. Something you should keep in mind as well. This is just summarizing what we've just discussed. In the last few examples, the referee whistled for a foul. So that means there needs to be a restart. What you saw in both situations is that the player, the attacker, put a hand on the ball and then passed it. So he made sure the ball was stationary and then play continued. So he was taking the free kick. In the following situations, there's an advantage situation. So there is a foul where a defender stops a promising attack, but the referee gives advantage. It's a similar situation as in the previous occasion, because you also don't caution the player then, because they got the promising attack back. So the player on the midfield got fouled, but the player on the right wing, what you see is that defenders 13 and 21 are protesting because they don't think it's a foul, but the referee didn't even whistle. You can even see it's on the side of the screen, but the referee puts his arms in front of him because he sees the advantage already. Defenders, because the player go down, sometimes defenders have the idea they need to like say something about possible fouls. It's their problem, but they should be aware of the surroundings and see that the attacker is still, the attacking team can still continue, and they got quite a nice promising attack, and it even led to a goal. So as a referee, advantage like this are very nice. When you can give an advantage like that, you must feel great as a referee. So be aware of the surroundings. If there's any chance of players who are able to continue play, and adjust your judgment based on that. Something you should keep in mind, if the foul was just stopping a promising attack, then you don't show the yellow card. if you think the foul was reckless, then you give the yellow card for the reckless foul. So in a previous webinar, I've shared an image, a video of Schalke 04 against Dortmund. It's a German game, and Danish Aitekin, the referee, saw there was a reckless challenge. He gave the advantage. It led to a goal, actually. And the player got a yellow card because the challenge was reckless. It was not just stopping a promising attack, but it was because of the reckless foul. The yellow card was still given. So that's also what you should keep in mind, the severity of the foul. So for reckless fouls, you keep showing the yellow card because that was the reason you were carded for. So keep that in mind. Similar for dark show situations, if there's someone's denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity, and it was just a challenge for the ball and he trips the player, then it's fine. You downgrade it to a yellow card if they can take it quickly. But if there's a challenge with excessive force, you should be really careful if you give the advantage then, because it should be like a one-on-one with the goalkeeper maybe. Maybe that's an opportunity to let play continue if there's excessive force. Otherwise, my advice is always whistle in case situation like that, because when you have to show the yellow card, red card for things like that, because there was excessive force, act immediately, because these fouls can change the game, are very crucial, key decisions for you as referee. And if there's excessive force in play, handle it as soon as possible, and not after you've given advantage. Maybe you give the advantage and they don't score, and then you still have your red card in your pocket, like, I have to show that player a red card. That's something you want to prevent yourself from happening. In Law 12, there's also a minor change. In the laws of the game was never mentioned that if you fail to respect the required distance, for a drop ball, you can get a yellow card as well. In the laws of the game, there was only mentioned corner kick, free kick, or throw in. It's now also added, the IFAB also added drop ball to the list of restarts. What you see is that this play is not going away. Okay. After a few moments, a few warnings from the referee, like he moved away, I think still the players on the left are too close, not 4 meters away from the drop ball. But like, make sure you. My advice is to manage it first. Talk to the players, say, players, go back. You have to be 4 meters away from play. My experience is, especially in amateur football, players still don't know there's no contested drop ball anymore. It's been there for more than a season, but they still don't know. They said, I'll kick it back to the other team, or someone else joins in and there are two. Apparently players missed about that law change that was introduced like a season ago already. So keep in mind, manage it. Usually you can use your voice, say them, or use your gestures. Like, please stay at a distance that's 4 meters. Then usually you can manage it without giving a yellow card. According to the law of the game, you can from now on. This is, I'll go to the chat. Yeah, go to the chat, and Nathan says that players and coaches missed a lot of rule changes, and sometimes referees did too, though. Yeah, that's why I do these sessions like this. I love to get people through these laws of the game sessions and talk them through the changes. As a referee, you do have a responsibility of being up to date with the laws of the game. in my opinion, it can't happen that you don't know the laws of the game, or that the players know the laws of the game better than you do. After this session, I'll share a link with the people who subscribe, and then you feel free to share that video with the people that referees like, please watch this this webinar. You can watch it back. Laws of the game sessions are always good to be updated, especially for the new season. If you know the laws of the game, you don't have to think about it when you manage situations. You don't have to think, what was the law again? If you know them, you can decide and you can make your decisions more quickly, and you don't have to worry about them, and it makes you feel more comfortable in dealing with situations, and it makes it easier to manage things. Yeah, good point, Nathan. And I'll go to law 12 now. There's a minor change here, and I've been getting questions about this because a player committing any other offense which interferes with or stops a promising attack. So a player is not allowed to be on the field of play, and he, for example, enters the field of play without permission. And if a player enters the field of play without permission and he plays the ball, and just by playing the ball, which is normally not a foul, but he's interfering with play, so they call it an offense. So it's just a bit of wording, because technically it's not a foul if you play the ball, because you were not allowed to enter the field of play. So that's why they changed it to any other offense. I think that's all you need to know about this change. It's not that there's a law change here, it's just wording, because it's not a foul when you play the ball with your foot. We go to the penalty kicks now, so we're close to the end of the laws of the game changes session, because in the last few laws of the game there were not any changes, or not major changes. This is one thing that's very important, and we'll see a clip from the Women's World Cup. There was a penalty kick by France, and the captain of France misses the ball, but the goalkeeper, she was off the goal line, so she did a step forward, but she did not impact on the kicker to take the ball. Neither did she touch the ball, so the ball was going wide, touching the goalpost. But it's not that the goalkeeper did anything to stop the ball from going in. And the law has changed now, that if the goalkeeper does not impact the kicker or does not save the ball, there is no retake. Here we go to the example. So what you can see is the goalkeeper is with 2 feet off her goal line. So normally that's an offense. I'm trying to find a moment where you can see that the goalkeeper is not touching the ball. The ball has already gone there and did not. The goalkeeper didn't have any influence in stopping the ball being missed. So according to the laws of the game and the recent changes, there should not be a retake in a situation like this. This is shortly summarizing it. So the kick is only retaken if the goalkeeper's offense clearly impacted on the kicker. So by saving the ball or by if she moves out of from the goal line so quickly that she's about 5, maybe 10 meters. No, 10 is not. It's too far. Like when the goalkeeper is 5 meters in front of the goal line, so almost at the edge of the goal area, then attacker might have an impact on the attacker, because the goalkeeper is so nearby. So the taker might take a shot wide because she's impacted by the actions of the goalkeeper. But in a situation like this, when the goalkeeper is just one small step from the goal line, it does not impact the kicker in taking the kick properly. So that's an important change. If this goalkeeper has touched the ball and it was her first offense in a penalty series or in the kicks from the penalty mark, the goalkeeper gets warned first and then she gets cautioned. If it's the first one in the penalty series or if it's the first one in the game, in both situations, first a warning, for the second time a yellow card. We already talked about committing the offenses at the same time, so I'll scroll to the next slide. My advice is always to have a look at the laws of the game. I got my copy here. You can have one digitally. You can always find them online and see what the diagram says. There's the summary table in the laws of the game. It's very good to look at this because it gives you a clear overview of what should happen if there's encroachment by a defending team, if there's an offense by the goalkeeper, and it's also relevant if a goal was scored or if there's a goal, if the penalty is missed. So have a look at the summary table in the laws of the game. That gives you a good impression of what you should decide in penalty situations. My idea is just to go through the VR book because there's no changes that apply to most of you. So I'll just skip that one. One important thing in the glossary has changed, and it says that a holding offense occurs only when a player's contact with the opponent's body or equipment impedes the opponent's movement. So minor holding, like just a touch on the shoulder, or just a hand on the back, it should not be penalized. If it impedes the progress or the movement of the opponent, then only then you should punish it. That's something that's been clarified. Not every touch of the arm on the opponent is meant as a holding offense. When you take penalty kicks, this is from the, it's good to know if a player has entered the penalty area, so they need to be behind the penalty area line, even when the head is bending forward, and the head here on the image you see is partly over the line, but you have to look at the feet of the player. So if the feet are outside the penalty area, this means it's not encroachment. So look at the feet in situations with the penalty kicks. You also see the mentioned law 11 offside. That means with offside situations, the head is relevant because every part of the body you can score a goal with is relevant in deciding whether someone's in offside position or not. So the arms are not relevant in offside situations, but the head or the upper body is. And with penalty kicks, the feet are relevant. So that's a slight change or difference between these two situations. And the last thing that has been clarified in the laws of the game is what they call the flick up. And I'll just show you the video that makes it much clearer. The outcome is the kick should be retaken if a situation like this happens. The goalkeeper lifts the ball, the defender hands it back to him, and he can like throw it far away or kicks it all out of his hands. The laws of the game say they don't want to call it unsporting behavior, but I think they're still a bit undecisive about that. So they say we should just retake this goal kick. If they do it a lot or more often, then you can show a yellow card for unsporting behavior. The restart still that the kick has to be retaken, because that's something not mentioned, that there would be an attacking free kick. So you don't, because they do it all. If they do it more often, like they're wasting time, or they like it takes time to do so. So then they advise you at least to show them a yellow card. But if you let them retake it, as a referee, just explain to all the players, like, this is not allowed, you should not do this. If you make that very clear to them at that moment, when you do it the first time, normally it should not come back a second time. So that's, I think, important as well. That was the last sheet in the IFAB presentation.